Hey, y'all, it's executive producer Sonia Cho Swanson. And guess what? New season, new rules. Fall restrictions are in effect September through October. That means grass can only be watered 3 days a week. And yes, it's the law. Don't miss a beat. Change your watering clock now. Trees and plants, they need less water, just a recommended 2 days a week with drip irrigation. Visit snwa.com to find your assigned watering days and tips to maintain a healthy landscape. SNWA is a not-for-profit water agency. Happy Friday, y'all. Today on CityCast Las Vegas, I'm here with Battleborn Progress Press Secretary Jacob Solis and Hey Las Vegas newsletter editor Rob Katchelreese. And we're talking about the resolution of Lombardo's ethics complaint, a state senator's DUI, and Las Vegas on sale. Sort of. It's Friday, September 26th. I'm Sonia Cho Swanson, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. Jacob, Rob, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, we're going to jump right into things. I'm here today on the Friday News Roundup because it is membership week.
What?
And as executive producer of the show...
This is the first I'm hearing about this.
Yeah,
the
tell
first
me more.
time, really
No,
amazing. I know. No, Rob's been neck deep in this as well. But it's really important for us to make sure that we keep this show going. So as we're rounding out the first week of our fall membership campaign, I think today is the perfect day for you to become a CityCast Las Vegas neighbor, which you can do at membership.citycast.fm. You are
easy.
literally sustaining the local conversation, one that's curious and passionate and human and deeply invested in this city that we call home. So, Rob, as you recall, we
Yes.
happened to win a little award for the podcast recently.
Oh, a major award?
Yes, not too long ago, we won the Best Vegas Podcast Award from Las Vegas Weekly.
Hey,
Wasn't
we
that
did
cool?
indeed. And you know, actually one of the things I loved about their write-up about the show, they said something, well, they said a lot of nice things. Thank you to the Las Vegas Weekly. But one thing they said that I loved, they said, when Las Vegas needs to talk its way through something, David Figler and Sarah Lohman, our hosts, lead the conversation.
They're very good at talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they are. And it's because people come to CityCast Las Vegas to figure out what's going on, but also how are we talking about it? How are we talking with our neighbors about it?
It's a little bit almost like your cheat sheet to Las Vegas, how to
I love that.
start the day, how to be in touch with, Las Vegas as a community without doom scrolling through social media and other stuff that's out there. And let me point out, we're not AI. We're not generating any of this. This is all human driven.
Here.
We're a local team of 5, 6 people that's part of a broader network of what's now 15 cities that all care about the same mission in getting people who live in the community. Tourists, you're welcome. If you're listening, great. We love you. But we
accept
really
you.
want to be in touch with the locals, people who love this community and love to bag on it as well.
Yeah, we do this because we care. But listeners, we need your help to make it happen. So head on over to membership.citycast.fm. And I'm throwing a little perk here. We've got one more special gift. If you join before the weekend ends by Sunday, 11:59 p.m., we've got 3 $50 Grouchy John's gift cards to give away.
Ooh, I love Grouchy John's.
Who does not love
Yeah.
Grouchy John's? Come on.
That is local coffee done right.
Jacob, do you love Grouchy John's?
Of course.
Yes.
Who would I be if I did not?
Thank you. Every Las Vegan knows Grouchy John's coffee is amazing. So we've got 3 $50 gift cards from Grouchy John's. We're going to pick the winners from all of the new members who've joined between the start of our campaign on Wednesday and Sunday night, 11:59 p.m. So if you're listening, now's your chance. Become a member. Everyone who joins during this campaign is going to get an amazing CityCast Las Vegas Neighbors tote. You're going to get perks like our ad-free podcast feed, which sometimes has extra bonus material. Yesterday's episode has an extended cut. So head on over to membership.citycast.fm. It's $10 a month or $100 a year. It is worth the investment.
I did the math. If you do $100 a year, that breaks down to $8-something a month.
It's something. Look at that. We can even math.
That's the official figure.
More or less, yeah.
And what's that? That's less than a price of coffee these days. It's like a third a cocktail in Las Vegas.
A third of a cocktail.
And that's for a month.
Yeah.
And if you appreciate what we do, it's very small. A very small amount. For a very big podcast and newsletter.
Here. All right, membership.citycast.fm. Go do it.
Yay.
Onwards to the hot headline of the week.
Hot headline.
Yes, thank you, Rob. No one can do Sarah, but Rob, that was beautiful.
I tried.
Layla, our producer in the notes, says, whoa, amazing.
She's like, get rid of this guy.
Jacob, did y'all hear about this brand new cyber attack? New cyber attack just dropped.
I can't keep track of these cyber attacks.
I'm going to be real. I also missed this cyber attack.
Oh my God, they're dropping like the boo-boos.
It's also a game of guess who paid the ransom, because we never quite know until later.
Seriously. Okay, so new cyber attack on Tuesday. Boyd Gaming filed a report with the SEC. In the report, they said they were the victims of a cyber attack. Apparently, it had, quote, no impact on the company's properties or business operations, but it does look like at least some employee data was stolen. And they're staying mum on whether or not they've paid a ransom. But I will say this is the third cyber attack headline in the last few weeks. We had, of course, the big Nevada State cyber attacks. And then also recently, last week, I believe, the arrest of a teen involved in the 2023 casino cyber attack.
A 15-year-old.
My goodness, the child prodigy.
If you're wondering what your kids are doing in the bedroom, it's hacking Las Vegas companies.
That's what's going on.
Ransomware. The answer is ransomware.
The
It's all the
answer is
rage these days.
Fully paid in Bitcoin, allegedly.
Yeah. Goodness. All right. So shall we move on to the first topic of the week?
Hot topic.
Jacob, you've got some updates for us on the ethics complaint involving Governor Joe Lombardo.
Indeed, and an ethics complaint on which we can finally close the book, because here I have an article in front of me. Lombardo, Ethics Commission settle long-running dispute over use of sheriff's badge, office. So
this is from the Nevada Independent, your alma mater.
Correct, and my erstwhile colleague Tabitha Mueller does great work. She wrote this story. Now, for years, going back to the 22 campaign, Governor Joe Lombardo in that campaign used his badge and his uniform and like a gun and stuff in campaign ads because he was the sheriff of Clark County. And if you're the sheriff, why not do those things? Now, it turns out that this may or may not run afoul of ethics law because technically, according to this settlement, there is nothing in the law that says you're not allowed to use your uniform if you are a public safety officer when you run in a separate office. However, the Ethics Commission said this might confuse people because it implies that the police endorsed his campaign when he uses what are called official accoutrements of office. Oh, yeah, it's a term of art. And so Lombardo paid $5,000, but it's not a fine. Well, I guess he's going to pay $5,000. It hasn't happened yet. But it's not a fine because legally there was no law to break.
Okay.
But it is a settlement. So now we're here.
It's a gift. It's a donation.
But what is he paying to who?
To the state's general fund. So it does go back to the state.
Okay.
And essentially, everyone's claiming victory. Lombardo says, see, I did nothing wrong because technically there was no willful violation of state ethics law. And the Democrats who wanted to see him punished for this, I mean, technically he was $5,000 is not a punishment. So we've landed in this strange gray zone.
But
where
we're down
everyone,
But the initial, I guess, fine or proposed fine levied was much, much higher than $5,000, right?
Yeah, that's correct. And that's one of the reasons this has been going on so long. The original amount that they wanted to fine the governor a couple of years ago was like $1.6 million. That got negotiated down to $20,000, which still would have been the third largest fine the Ethics Commission had ever issued. And then, of course, now we end up at the actual number, $5,000. And again, technically not a fine.
That's not even the tax on that amount.
So speaking of the Nevada Independent, the Indy's head honcho, John Ralston, has a newsletter or an email he sends out to his sort of inner circle of members or supporters. And he actually has some choice words for this resolution. He says he's glad it's over. He found it irritating. He said that it was a dumb issue and, quote, shows how broken the Ethics Commission process seems to be. Like, of course, a guy who is sheriff running for governor should be able to wear his uniform, show pictures of his uniform and badge. Why not? It's ludicrous, he says. And he thinks that the ethics panel has always been used as a political bludgeon, quote. So what do y'all think? Like John Ralston, not everyone agrees that the initial ethics complaint held water. So,
I mean, this is the thing. How much does it really help? Everybody knows he was the sheriff. If you're voting for him, you know what his resume is. The big thing on it is, hey, I'm the sheriff, whether he's wearing the badge or not. I agree, probably not a good idea to do in campaign materials, if that's what happened. But, like when Eisenhower ran for president, he was a general. That's what people knew him as. If you saw a photo of him in battle fatigues from when he was in World War II, you're not going to be going, oh my God, that's a surprise and that's unfair and that's an endorsement. You know who he is. You know who he was. I don't think it's that big a deal. And you know what? Lombardo, take that $5,000 and buy some CityCast Las Vegas memberships and pass them around the office.
That's right. And I think that is the interesting comparison, right? Is I think there's plenty of veterans, former U.S. service members who are serving in Congress, who've run for higher office. Eisenhower, obviously, the biggie. But there are rules about how you can use your military uniform and dress uniform in campaign advertisements. And so I think that's really the solution here is if people feel so strongly about this, then look, far be it for me to say we should have more laws restricting whatever. But in campaign finance stuff, maybe it's worth it to have some delineation here to say, if you are XYZ, here's exactly how you can use the accoutrements of office, because that's really the crux of this thing. There is zero... the law does not have clarity on this issue. And so when you have a board like the Ethics Commission, which is full of people who are fallible because all people are fallible, then we're going to get into issues like this.
That's a good point, Jacob, because I could see, so from my mind as a, say, potential voter looking at voting materials here, I could see that, a photo of Joe Lombardo wearing his uniform is perfectly rational to me. That makes sense. This is like who he, his role, it's his job, it sort of makes sense. But say he puts an image, an icon of his badge on like his campaign materials. Well, then it does look like the,
it does feel like an endorsement of some sort.
Exactly, because you do that kind of thing. That's where you put badges of, people who endorsed you on.
And police unions do that kind of stuff all the time.
Exactly.
Right.
Police union logos often look like police badges anyways. So.
Exactly.
And that's sometimes the idea.
That delineation makes, and it sounds like it's splitting hairs, but I think those are crucial distinctions and differences to make. So what sort of precedent does the outcome of this case set? I mean, does it actually, a fine down from 1.6 million down to 5,000, does it actually deter anyone in future campaigns from doing the same?
It sets a precedent as far as, hey, this is what I can get away with if I really want to.
So this is the cost of doing business now? Is that what that
Sometimes. Sets? I hate to say it, but in the current political climate, as far as corruption goes, this feels relatively light, doesn't it?
Yeah, and frankly, I don't know. I don't imagine this does set a precedent because truly, if another, sheriff came along and just wanted to do this exact same thing, I'm not sure that this case would stop them. Like you say, Rob, you just look at it and be like, what's $5,000? I'm sure in 10 years, $5,000 is going to be worth a lot less than it is now.
And you know what? Coverage is coverage. If someone complains about it, then all you're doing is drawing attention to, hey, this guy's the sheriff. It kind of works in a roundabout way.
I could imagine it could also rally the troops around a candidate, right? Or around the governor,
right, because everybody's a victim now.
And frankly, that's exactly what Lombardo said. He repeatedly said that this was a political attack, that the Ethics Commission was stocked with Sisolak loyalists or whatever, and they were targeting him because he was a Republican, right? Not because this was a legitimate issue. So certainly, I think we're just going to see that exact same playbook play out again. History will repeat itself.
And you know what? These campaigns spend so much on consultants here and there. I'm sure one of them had the brains and the experience to know not to do this.
Yeah.
If you're spending the money on that, you should be getting something out of it.
Yeah. Well, Jacob called it. He says we're going to see this in the next campaign. Let's see if that comes true.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Learning a new language opens the door to new friends, new cultures, maybe even a whole new life. So why not start that journey today? I'm CityCast CEO David Plotz, and I'm learning Spanish with Babbel. Babbel's conversation-based technique quickly teaches you useful words and phrases about the things you actually talk about in the real world. I've been practicing my Spanish with Babbel's AI conversation partner. I can choose my conversation topic and have a real-time dialogue. It's great at helping me think on my feet, and it's improving my pronunciation. Also, it's really easy to do anytime on my phone using Babbel's excellent mobile app. It's just one of the many fantastic Babbel tools for learning. Plus, Babbel has a real-time feedback, progress trackers, and handy visualizations, all of which make it really easy to stay motivated to learn. I want you to learn another language. So CityCast is teaming up with Babbel to gift you 55% off subscriptions, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/citycast. Get up to 55% off at babbel.com/citycast. Spelled BABBEL.com/citycast. Babbel.com/citycast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Hey there, it's Sonia Cho Swanson, executive producer at CityCast Las Vegas. And you know from listening to this show that we love helping you understand Las Vegas and be more a part of it. But the only reason this show works is because of you. You tune in because you're genuinely invested in the local conversation. And hey, if I had to guess, let me guess here, you're someone who shops local wherever possible. You might be the go-to friend for local gossip, and I would not be surprised if you carry your library card around everywhere you go. So if this sounds like you, I'd like to invite you to join CityCast Las Vegas Neighbors. Our membership program is designed to help folks like you who care about our city engage more deeply with life here. You'll get invites to members-only events, our curated weekly roundup of the best things to do in our city, and the chance to share what you love about Las Vegas on our podcast. Plus, your membership directly supports the people making this podcast so we can keep bringing you the local stories that matter. The producers of this show, that's me and Layla, we put hours into making sure each episode is carefully researched and thoughtfully edited. You know, sometimes by the time an episode comes out, we've actually listened to the tape like at least 4 times. And you know what? On the 4th listen, it still makes me laugh. I love it. So become a CityCast Las Vegas neighbor for $10 a month or $100 a year at membership.citycast.fm. That's membership.citycast.fm. Thank you so much. And wait, and now through October 3rd, when you sign up, you get this awesome tote. I love a tote. I know you love a tote. And it says, "Neighbors make Las Vegas," because it's true. When neighbors show up, our community thrives. Join today to get the tote at membership.citycast.fm. All right, on to the next topic. I'm going to explain this one.
On to the next corrupt politician?
The next corrupt politician,
Did I say
in fact.
that? Allegedly?
Well, what we do know is that on September 12th, State Senator Edgar Flores, a Democrat from Las Vegas, was charged with suspicion of driving under the influence. They found him at about 3:20 a.m. This comes from reporting from Jessica Hill over at the Review-Journal, also a recent guest on the podcast. And initially, the police found him at a light with his car in drive, foot on the brake, slumped over the steering wheel, fast asleep. And when this all came out, his team's initial response was, his initial breathalyzer came back at 0.000. It's gonna be 0 all the way.
And he was just tired.
He was just tired. He said he had 1 beer at an event. He's been working really hard, and he declined. So I'll have to work out the details of this in a second here, but he declined an official breathalyzer at the scene, agreed to a blood test at the Clark County Detention Center later on. The blood test came back. At that point, it had been over 2 hours. This is an important detail, over 2 hours. The blood test came back then at that point at 0.082, which is above the legal limit of 0.08. So I talked to our in-house legal expert, attorney, and host David Figler, and he explained that in order for these tests to be legally admissible, the tests have to be administered within 2 hours of him being in control of the vehicle, right? And he also points out that there's a difference between a preliminary breath test and the actual breathalyzer. So the law requires that unless there's a reasonable suspicion of drug use, that the person can elect to do either a breath test or a blood test. And if you refuse, then your license is automatically revoked. And then the officer has to go and try to very quickly get a warrant for the blood test. But it sounds like, from what I can tell from this reporting, it sounds like he had a sort of an initial preliminary a breathalyzer that wouldn't count, I guess, for the courts. But somehow, according to his team, came back at 0. And then over 2 hours later, the blood test at the detention center came back at a much higher level. So I think what's going to be interesting is to see what evidence actually is admissible in court based on all these timelines and kind of how this all pans out. Because if all the reporting we've heard is true, I mean, it sounds like he'd been knocking back a few, shall we say.
Yeah. Well, if allegedly, maybe. Speculating. Right. I mean, that's kind of the line everybody gives when they're pulled over. They're like, I just had 1 beer. And usually that's code for, I had a lot of beers, or maybe I had
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah.
But if you did have one beer and the breathalyzer comes back 0.00, that almost says to me that the breathalyzer is not working rather than you're below the limit. Yeah.
Yeah. One beer will show up.
I would settle for 0.01 at least, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's a little more
And also, this is coming from his
accurate.
team. This isn't from a report or from police. His team is the one who told the public that that's what the result was.
Of course. And they're obviously out there doing damage control like crazy, right? So I think this kind of points to a bigger question here, because asking for someone's breathalyzer data, asking for blood is certainly and on some level an invasion of your privacy, right? So is this a reasonable encroachment on an individual's rights for the sake of public safety? What do y'all think?
Well, in the case of DUIs, I think it's an interesting moral question, right? Like they're legal, because like surely there is the interest of public safety that outweighs the personal liberty angle. What's the thing? It's like you could always deny it, and then there would be, does that itself becomes part of the legal process? Not being a lawyer, not having Figler here for the legal clarification.
I think the argument would be that, as they say, driving is a privilege, not a right. And you have to do certain things and know the rules to get a license in the first place. And somewhere in those rules, it's if you are suspected on a DUI, you must submit to one of these two tests. So it's not like surprise. These are the rules, and you can look up the rules in any state that you drive in. So by being behind the wheel and having a license in the first place, in theory, you're submitting consent to that.
That's interesting. Yeah. And to me, I think the high cost outweighs sort of the low invasion, if that makes sense, right? It's not like they're taking your blood and like saving your genetic data. Like that's different. That
would be a good scandal, though.
Oh my God. Wow. You are writing crime novels left and right here, Rob. I love it.
I'm going to write a dystopian movie about this.
Yes. The breathalyzer, the blood test, these are temporary kind of moments in time, of your kind of temporary state. It's on a permanent record of your permanent genetic, makeup, right? And the cost, obviously, is the high cost of. I mean, we see this all the time in Las Vegas, right? Like the death toll on our roads is brutal. So to me, that seems like a reasonable kind of balance here if you're looking at sort of what weight we're putting on the other side of the equation.
Right. And then you just look at who's involved. Going back to this, it's a political figure, someone who gets elected to represent us in Carson City.
Yep.
And you want that person to have some responsibility and carry themselves to a certain standard. That sounds silly saying that in today's world, but some of us still feel that way.
That's actually interesting because, the wrinkle in this particular case is that he is an elected. I mean, what do we think about kind of like the fallout of this whole conversation, right? I mean, his team's adamant denials. I mean, is this like you said, Rob, the new current reality? I mean, if you don't like what the truth is, the current reality, I guess, is do you make up your own? Is this the new normal for politicians now?
That's right. If you don't like the facts, you throw out the report and you hire somebody else. If you don't like the truth, you make up your own truth and you say what you want the truth to be. Is that the case here? I don't know. But I mean, it doesn't really surprise me if the national political vibe is starting to creep over into the local political vibe, where if you just say what you want the truth to be often enough, it's what people hear and it's what you think it is, and it's there.
Yeah, and I think with local races in particular, the amount of people who are like plugged into local races is so small relative to like what we call like in political science, high salience, low salience, right? So it's like people who care about the president are not the same people who like care about local politicians necessarily. And that gives local politicians both more and less latitude, right? You have a base that you can make angry and not make angry, but like as long as they're with you, you can kind of get away with whatever you want. Like, I think there's plenty of politicians. It's like not crimes per se, but like there's lots of things that have happened with local politicians, we'll say in the last 10 years in Nevada specifically, where they've been able to do a lot and still win re-election. There's only like a handful of exceptions. I think of, say, like Reuben Kewin in 2016, who was accused of sexual misconduct in Congress. He was forced not to run for re-election. That's like literally one exception. And then there's two Democrats I can think of that actually went to jail, but for actual crimes.
I mean, that's the thing, though. That's the flip side to this. We know so little, or the general public knows so little about local politicians. You don't want to be the local politician known for that one scandal that gets a lot of attention, because then you're kind of defined by that.
Well, that's the thing is, I think sometimes, though, they end up not being defined by that. I could name politicians off the top of my head right now who have like these past scandals and are still in office. I think we're well past, what was his name? The senator, was John Ensign? No. Yes,
Wait,
right? It was,
John Ensign, the veterinarian.
yes.
Uh-huh.
So like, there are plenty or even, the Jim Gibbons days. I'm sure everyone remembers that fondly. But like that kind of scandal, I'm not sure, to Rob's point, I'm not sure has the same sticking power these days, especially in these local races.
And now you just decide it's not a scandal. Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here, right?
0.00.
So Jake, I'm actually curious. I want to dig in just for a second here. So you're saying that it doesn't have the same sticking power because they're local races and people, because they don't, if they're not in his district, they just don't care as much? Like, what's the rationale there?
Well, I think people, it's not that they don't care, it's that they don't know. Like, I think if you were to ask a random person, like, quick, who's your state senator? Like, would they be able to tell you? I think the answer is probably no. I think there are some people who absolutely know that who their state senator is, have met them, engaged with them, and that matters to them. But I think a lot of people have no idea. So they're just going to get a mailer and they're going to see that. And to Rob's point, they're going to see like, oh, this state senator was involved in a DUI. Can you trust him? And they're going to be like, propaganda. And they're just not going to, it's just not going to register with them. Or they're going to forget because the election is so far from now. So I think to the idea that like information itself has become soft and squishy, that like, it's almost, the way it is used in campaigns rather becomes soft and squishy too.
You know what? That's so interesting, Jacob, because I've been thinking about, the fact that we're all talking about how much misinformation is flying around also leads us to mistrust actual facts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the boy who cried wolf effect, right? And I love how you describe it as all like information being soft and squishy. Yeah, man, what is this bode? What is this bode, Jacob?
It bodes ill. That's what I say. It bodes ill.
Oh my goodness. Before we get into our third and final and fun topic after this dire political predictioning.
After our corruption block, allegedly.
Our corruption block is over. Corruption hour is over, y'all. Mm-hmm. But we're going to talk about our neighbor program because one of the perks that we haven't mentioned yet, I love this perk.
And neighbors love this too.
Neighbors love it so much. Yeah. It's lovely. When you become a CityCast Las Vegas neighbor, you get to shout out your favorite local businesses and organizations. I love seeing these roll in. People talk about their neighborhood taqueria. They talk about a nonprofit. One woman shouted out a hospital team that like really helped her. Like just the kind of warmth and kindness and appreciation that comes through in these.
And you know what? The shout outs, they appear on the podcast and they also appear in my newsletter. So it's almost like a double shout out.
Yeah.
Want me to give you some examples?
Please, Rob.
How about Sarah T., who says the Sin City Writers Group is a haven for authors of every level. They're so supportive. I love them.
Love it.
That's great. And know what? Amber K. has a shout out for Jen of Akin and Dustland for organizing the Wine and Art Walk, a great event in the Arts District promoting our local businesses.
That is amazing. I actually have been meaning to go to Dustland, which is a brand new bar downtown.
Yeah, I kind of like the shout out because it's like 3 shout outs in one.
Yeah. So if you would like to get your own neighbor shout out, become a CityCast Las Vegas neighbor over at membership.citycast.fm. Do it now. Don't do it if you're driving. That's my one caveat. Please don't do that.
And don't fall asleep at a traffic light while you're doing it.
Don't fall asleep at a traffic light. But once you're safely parked, go to membership.citycast.fm. And if you do it before Sunday night, we'll enter you to win those Grouchy John's gift cards. That's my local biz shout out for today. Grouchy John's Coffee.
Hey-o.
It's the best 8-something a month you can spend.
Here. All right. Topic 3, Las Vegas's 5-day sale. What was it? A fire sale, Rob? What do we got going on here?
Well, I don't know if you realized it. It's Friday. We're at the end of the biggest sale in Las Vegas history. And when I first heard that, I'm like, are we talking about the Hard Rock buying the Mirage? What's the biggest sale in Las Vegas history? But no, it is the LVCVA teaming up valley-wide, Henderson, Las Vegas, with all the big resorts, some small resorts, and offering 5 days worth of deals that are going to be... Yeah. I mean, you could do a staycation too.
Okay. Yeah.
But this is I'm not saying this. It literally says it on the website. If you go to Visit Las Vegas/deals, it's right there. The biggest sale in Las Vegas history. So I was getting a little excited. I was looking at these and
They're
I'm
really
like,
up in the ante here.
yeah, I mean, what am I going to find here? And I'll be honest, I was scrolling through and some of these deals kind of ranged from the meh to the mid
Uh-oh.
to the maybe
Okay.
to the Miami sounds nice.
Oh.
Instead, maybe we do that. What
Rob
deals
with
are
the
there?
alliteration.
Yeah, so you know what? Like I'm looking through these and just some random ones here. Spring Hill Suites at the convention center says
Who, what, where?
Spring Hill Suites right by the convention center. Their deal is best available rate.
Oh
Plus-
my God.
Plus 25 food and beverage credit.
Okay.
Can you get a drink and something to eat for $25 at this point?
Maybe out of the vending machine. Yeah.
Right. Jacob's vending machine.
The Hilton Garden Inn in Henderson,
Ah,
20% off.
okay.
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 But, you know, you scroll down, they get a little more interesting and exciting. Palace Station, $299 hotel package for 2 nights plus $175 resort credit.
Okay,
And
what does
now-
that mean?
Yeah, now I'm doing math and I'm kind of like, well, wait, hold on. What does this mean? Carry the one?
As we've established, Rob does not do math.
No, I barely do words if you read the newsletter, but I definitely don't do math. And, you know, what I'm kind of seeing here is generally a lot of these rates are going to be, once the discounts are applied and you subtract the freebies or whatever, you know, they're going to kind of be in the 100 to 200 rate. Not all of them, but not this like, oh my gosh kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, even like the Palazzo. We know what the Palazzo is all about. 33% off rates. They want to do a nice clean third off rates and suites. I think they're all suites, but plus a $50 cocktail credit.
One single cocktail. Yeah.
You can barely get 2 cocktails for $50 at the Palazzo. Is that going to make you book a flight to Vegas? I mean, what are we talking about here? And to be fair, a lot of people said this is probably the best deal. Circa, which is a very nice hotel, very cool hotel on Fremont Street.
Brand new.
$400 all in, 2-night stay, 200 in credits for food and drinks, and a day bed at Stadium Swim.
Okay. That actually does sound like a deal. I will give them credit for this.
That's a
Circa
solid
deal.
maybe. But
That's
you know
a
what?
solid deal.
Where's the creativity here? Where is the headline generating creativity?
Okay. Let's transport ourselves into our Midwestern alter egos. Imagine you are a middle-class tourist living in Columbus, Ohio. Jacob, are you there? Are you in Columbus, Ohio? Okay.
I used to
Are
live in
you-
Barrington, Illinois, just for the record. So I'm going to
There-
transport
you're
myself
already
back
there.
there. Yeah.
Are you enticed to come to Las Vegas? Jacob.
Probably not. Like Rob's been saying, I don't know that, like, if my conception of Vegas is that it's too expensive, the experience has gotten worse, and I'm just getting nickel and dimed for everything.
Yeah.
Like, the sale proves my point that they were nickel and diming me in the first place. So I'm not sure that Midwestern me is convinced.
Here's my take on it. My take is that this is not going to entice new tourists, but it's going to help the tourists who are going to come here anyways come away a little happier and not have that kind of like same sort of sense of sticker shock and purse lightning. That's
Kind
my
of
take
like,
on it.
or maybe if you were on the fence and you were thinking
Yeah.
about booking, you're like, oh, this is coming at a right time. And it kind of just pushes
Yeah.
you off the fence a little bit.
Yeah. I would say it's less about bringing more people in or bringing new people in and more about improving the pocketbook experience for the ones who are already coming anyhow. So that's just my take on it. But okay, Rob, so clearly you've got some ideas here because you're not a fan of what's going on. So what's your out of the box idea for what you'd like to see in this sale that would make that Ohioan sit up and say, holy shit, I need to get to Vegas ASAP?
You know, I would love to have seen something. A few of the hotels were giving deals like, oh, we're going to skip the resort fee or whatever. Let's do an across the board moratorium on resort fees and parking fees, whether it's for a set amount of time, whether if it's for you just book this week and you get that, but not just here and there. Everywhere. We're going big.
Parking.
Vegas is saying no to resort fees and parking fees for 1 week only. Get on this. That's going to make people pay attention. But you know what? Let's get creative. Let's do something interesting that people are going to sit up and go, what? I say everybody gets free pizza.
Oh, actually,
24
that's kind of amazing, Rob.
24-hour pizza pass. So you
Oh my
get a
God.
wristband and you just go. It can be just like a select amount of pizza places. It can just be
That's
like,
hilarious.
the food hall or whatever at every casino on the Strip. And I don't know if you remember, back in the day, when I first came to Vegas to job hunt, I spent a night or two in Imperial Palace. Remember that place?
Oh, yeah.
But at the time, I believe it was Caesars Entertainment, had a 24-hour buffet pass.
Oh,
This is my memory. It may be flawed, but I think it was $40. Keep in mind, this was a while back. But for $40, you got unlimited access to any of the Caesars buffets on any
wow.
property.
That would be dangerous to your health, I think. But
But
go
no,
on.
you just go get a meal. And also because another buffet's coming. It's not like you're trying to get it as much as you can. You just know, if I go here
Okay.
for breakfast, and I'm going to try out another one for lunch. And it's just like a way to not worry about food after paying. Bring back the buffet. Bring back the 24-hour buffet pass for $40. Make
The
it a
classics.
pizza pass. 24-hour
All right.
pizza. That would get headlines around the country, I
I
guarantee you.
freaking love the pizza idea, Rob.
And that's just off the top of my head. These people had
Yes.
weeks to come up with this sale.
Okay, Rob. So clearly that idea is free from Rob Katchelreese. Just, throw a few
Use it.
memberships our way.
All I want is a slice of pizza in return.
And some pizza, please. Here's my hot, spicy suggestion. Let's decriminalize prostitution in Clark County for 1 week.
1 week and 1 week only.
1 week only. Jacob, do you have a hot, spicy, or out-of-the-box idea?
I'm so sad because Rob took mine. Because our minds are clearly in one mode. I want the buffets back. The buffet is the symbol of the Vegas value. It has symbolic weight. Its death has come in line with this sort of like Vegas is too expensive thing. So bring it back and make it permanent. Also that.
And I think we also know, being in the media biz, the national media entities out there, they're all just fascinated with the Vegas buffet. They always want to do stories about how it's going away. They can't stop talking about it. Everybody associates buffets with Vegas, so do something fun with it, even if it's just short term.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, before we go, I want to thank some of our new members, our brand members who just joined.
Yeah, we're really off to a great start with the membership campaign.
We are off to an amazing start. I want to shout out Alexis H., Raquel L., Ty F., and Vince W. Thank you for joining the Neighbors program. We are super excited to have you. We're super excited to meet you at some future events, have you on the insider track with our weekly events email, and see you walking around town with that amazing new tote.
Yeah, the tote's great. And you know what? If you just appreciate this podcast, if you appreciate the newsletter and you enjoy waking up to it every morning, just, sign up. It's just a little something that helps keep this whole operation going.
Here. And that's at membership.citycast.fm. All right, Rob, Jacob, thank you both for this excellent conversation.
Thank you for hosting, Sonia.
Thank you.
Hey. And that's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. Our executive producer is me, Sonia Cho Swanson. Our producer is Layla Mohammed. Our newsletter editor is Rob Katchelreese. And our roving newsletter editors this week were Natalia Aldana and Adrian Gonzalez. Our hosts are David Figler and Sarah Lohman. Music is by OG Moose, Gregory David, Sven Lindvall, and Kitten the Call Tones, courtesy of Epidemic Sound, Brent Busby, and all the kimonos. We record this show on the traditional homelands of the Nuwuvi, the Southern Paiute people. And if you enjoyed the show, which I know you did, go tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter. Brilliant morning newsletter, Rob. Hey, Las Vegas. Don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Las Vegas neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back Monday morning with more news from around the city. Until then, take care.